Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Globe Secrets podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Hello, happy Monday. How are we doing? Listen, I am here to kind of kick your ass, but also mine, okay? But with lots of love because I love you guys and I love myself. We need to talk about how to spend less money this summer because I just feel like sometimes I don't know what happens in the summertime. Well, obviously it's the sun, but we just be acting a fool. We be acting an absolute fool for no reason. We're spending too much money. It's ridiculous. And I want to talk about it. So I want to talk about a few mindset things, a few things to think about when it comes to saving money because nobody really wants to sit here and not spend money and save money. Well, we want to save money, but sometimes it feels like restricting and you just want to be able to have the money that you want to have to spend and this, that. But I just want to maybe give some words of encouragement and things that help me along the journey of getting my finances together and saving and, calibrating myself, bringing myself back to where I need to be. And then I want to talk about a few sections of not where I think we spend the most money. It's very clear where we spend the most money in terms of, basic necessities. I'm not going to be talking about that. But when it comes specifically to summer, so we're talking wellness, we're talking beauty, we're talking entertainment and fun, lifestyle stuff. I kind of want to list off a bunch of things that I have learned to save more on, that I'm currently doing, that I did when I was getting my finances together, things like that. So it's more a little bit lighthearted stuff, but these things can very much so add up. And I just think that there's going to be a lot of things, I'm sure, on this list that will either just remind you to pull it back a little bit, or maybe you didn't think of. And then at the end of the episode, I will quickly touch on a few things in terms of savings and budgeting and things like that. But I do have other financial episodes and my whole journey about that. So if you are interested, I will link that down below. So obviously this episode is going to be for the girlies who, maybe you don't have a lot of money to be spending and you're just out here on the credit card, scanning and tapping. That's been me. That has been me. I'm much better with that now because I have more disposable income. But oh God, that was me when I didn't even have the money. But maybe you do have money and you kind of just want to dial it back a little bit because you have been seeing maybe on the credit card statement, it's getting a little bit high for what reason? We don't know. We're going to find out today. So yeah, this is just going to be an episode for those who are obviously spending. So if you're not spending, you're honestly probably fine. You probably might not be spending on all of these things, but I think there's probably going to be something that you really want to work on. Okay, so let's talk about the mindset. Let's think about this. If not now, then when? Okay, I have to tell myself this sometimes. Tell myself really. If not now, then when? Okay? Because at some point you're going to need to work on the finances, but at some point you're going to need to look at your spending habits and be like, what's happening? I really have to stop. So I feel like it's now before we really get into the deep depths of summer where we are what is going on? Why am I spending $100,000 at restaurants, going out to dinners, makeup, nails, all of the things. So if not now, then when? Okay. And it's gonna be now. The next thing that I like to always think about when it comes to spending, and this is always a reminder to me, and it'll be a reminder to you guys, and you're gonna have to always kind of remind yourself of this in different seasons of your life, but coming back to what is the return on my investment? Okay. When you are spending something that is essentially not a real investment when it comes to either savings or stocks or investment property or really something maybe even long-term for your health, things like that. What is the return on my investment? And a lot of the things that I feel we spend a lot of money on, especially in the summertime, it's not a good return. It's really not. It's very, very short-term gratification. And listen, we are all here for having a good time. You can't possibly always spend your money on things that aren't that are only long term, and you don't need to. Experiences are amazing. Even if you go out with your friends to restaurants, obviously that's fine. It's just obviously you're going to eat and you're not getting anything in return, but what you're really getting in return is obviously going to see your friends and this, that. But we kind of have to calibrate that. So that's always something to just ask yourself when you are spending money, like, what is this return? Am I really going to get the benefits, or am I going to get a lot out of this thing that I am spending my money on? And we'll go more into it when it comes to like clothes and things like that. Another thing that I really always like to remind myself of, especially when I'm going on or into an era of saving money, is it's not going to be like this forever. And I think that this mindset is really helpful for the ones who really don't like to budget a lot, or who don't want to feel just like restricted, or, I don't know, sometimes it's just not the best feeling to like feel like you don't have money. And I think that sometimes that's kind of what happens when you're kind of looking at your finances and stuff. But just understanding like this is not going to be forever. And I like to use this mindset when it comes to things that I even want to spend a little bit more money on. Like, I really want to invest in a new bag, or clothes that are, I don't know, like super local and like cost $1 million, or I want to get all of my food organic and I want to get all these supplements, these things like that. Like, obviously we really want a lot of those things, but I just have told myself throughout the years, it's just not going to be right now, but like you'll be able to spend your money on that, just not right now. So I think that's always helped me. Another thing that's always really helpful is to bring yourself back to the bigger picture of what you really want your life to be when it comes to like more material things, realistically. And I always think about this when I don't really have too much impulsive spending, really. And honestly, if you have impulsive spending, like, just know it takes a while for you to really get out of that cycle. With anything else, like binge eating or unhealthy relationships, like all that kind of stuff takes time, okay? So it's taken me like years to kind of get really out of that. But anytime that I do feel like, oh my God, this bag's so nice, like I really want that, that, I remind myself of the bigger picture of what I personally want. And what I personally want in the next like 5 to 10 years is for sure my suburban home. I say it all the time. I want my home. So when I'm considering buying something that's a little more on the pricier side, I'm like, do I want this designer bag? Or would I rather get to my home quicker? Bigger picture, even thinking about when you're 30, 40, 50, when you retire. These are things that you really kind of want to keep in your forefront of your mind if you're kind of bad at spending, because I feel like sometimes we just don't really think about the future. We just think about the now. And so even just maybe having a mood board or really getting clear on your goals, this is something that's really helpful to do monthly when you do your monthly tracking or your budgeting and bookkeeping and things like that, is to kind of have a mood board of really thinking about the future version of you and what you want. Because I find that kind of, I don't know, you're more willing to save your money for that than for what's really in front of you. And I want to read this quote that I found from Pinterest. And it says, "Contentment is key to staying on budget. It's hard to convince a thankful person that they're in lack and need more things to be happy." And I think this is a really good practice while you're going through a journey of saving money or just kind of getting things a little bit more in line, is a practice of gratitude and really learning how to be content with a lot of the things that you currently have. Because if you are content, if you go on TikTok, you're not really seeking anything to fill this void or fill this thing you feel like you need. And you become less susceptible to all of the shit that people are pushing to you. And there's a lot, obviously. And so I just think that when I actually really wanted to get my financial life sorted when I was younger, like really, really in bad financial situations, as we all, I feel like most people are in until you're not, is gratitude. When I was trying to manifest and I was trying to make more money and be good with my money, the biggest practice I had was actually being thankful and grateful and content with what I had, because that directly correlated with my actions that I was taking. And I was no longer searching and being in desperation and like, oh my God, scarcity, or I need this thing. And then I created better habits and I got myself out of those situations from being very content. And I think you can really apply that with most things in your life. You can apply that to relationships. You can apply that to job opportunities. You can just apply that to friendships with anything really. Like the more content you are right now, you're really residing in the energy that you're actually trying to be in when you want these material things sometimes, and then in turn you end up becoming a lot more abundant that way. So I figured I would just read that out. And there's one other post that I want to quickly read, and this is from the Broke Black Girl on Instagram. I would suggest following her. She has a really good Instagram, just tips for budgeting and spending and mindset stuff, which is really good. So I think that just following these type of accounts as well online and really surrounding yourself with people who are spending wisely and talking about investing and saving and that, like, I think is really good. And listen, I'm here for the getting influenced with the cute outfits and products and things like that, but I'm going to talk about kind of what I do for that. Anyways, this is what she posted yesterday, actually. So I screenshotted it. And it says, 10 tiny money and mental health tips I live by. First one, set small financial goals to reduce anxiety. Budget for self-care expenses. Track spending to feel more in control. Build a small emergency fund for peace of mind. Reduce exposure to financial comparisons, which that is huge. The other day, I was on TikTok and this girl was talking about living below her means and spending and stuff. And I even reposted it because honestly, it was really good advice. And it's basically what I live by. But even that video kind of gave me a little bit of anxiety because I instantly was like, oh shit, like I probably should be living a little bit more below my means or this, that, you know, like every time you get financial advice, sometimes it kind of makes you feel like, damn, like I need to do a better job at that. And then in general, like that usually creates anxiety because you're like, oh my God, I haven't been doing good. And then that stresses you out. And I just reminded myself in that moment, like, yes, that's good advice, but also just keep going, like just keep scrolling or like get off the internet, because as soon as you get off the internet, you feel fine. Like you're actually fine. And this is not about ignoring your financial situation, but a lot of times our anxiety really does come from those like posts and stuff, which is ironic because I reposted it, but I actually do think that she had really good tips that I think people would need to hear. But just being careful with that. And of course, just comparing, like when you see like, oh, what I spend in a day as a this, that, and the third, or I save this much money, this, that, like do not compare. You just can't. Next one is seek financial advice to reduce stress, which I think is great. Like you getting in control and looking at your finances, I promise you is going to make you feel way better about them. She also said take breaks from money tasks to recharge mentally, which is kind of what I just said about kind of stepping back from consuming a lot of financial content and stuff, especially if you are diving into it. I think it can be overwhelming at some points. Next one is limit financial discussions to avoid overwhelm. Another great tip. We don't always need to be talking about finances. Celebrate small financial wins to uplift your mood, which I think is always really great. And I think that when I do my monthly budgeting, I kind of celebrate that as a win because I'm always like, oh, okay, like I did one good thing, even if, yes, I want to make more money this month or I want to spend less, this, that, the fact that I sat there and I did that for the month and I got like an overview of what I'm spending is a win for me. And the last one is invest in activities that promote relaxation. So essentially just relaxing, okay? Also, I forgot to mention that I have my little money tree crystal here. I don't actually remember where I got this. I think I got this from some sort of market or something, but we have the money vibes here, okay? And I'm wearing a lot of blue. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously you can see. If you're listening on audio, you will not see, but all I know is this shirt is the cutest shirt I've ever got. And listen, I'm not trying to influence you guys on a money episode, but I got this from Urban Planet and I will link it if you are interested and it's in your budget. But I'm obsessed with this shirt, okay? Anyways, that was not even relevant to anything. And the last thing I kind of want to quickly talk about, and I saw someone say this on TikTok and I thought about this episode. She was saying how sometimes it frustrates her when she goes to comment sections on women's videos on TikTok of them being really thin or having really flawless skin, and people being like, drop the skincare routine or drop the workout routine, when it's clearly just her genetics or like she's just naturally super thin. Now, obviously, some people have great skin because they have products and it's fine to ask that, or like a great body, whatever. But I know that the comments that she was talking about on people like, hey, let's just use Alex Earl as an example. she is very obviously genetically and always has been tiny. Okay, like she's literally tiny. So when she's promoting like a greens juice and saying like it reduces my bloating and stuff, maybe, but like probably not. But there's so many people in the comments just being like, oh my God, drop your workout routine and this, that. And that's what she's talking about. It's like, guys, like it's clearly like, it's not to say you can't get that body, but I don't know, like don't go and spend your last dime on a bunch of things from people who it's very probably clearly just like a genetic thing. And again, like no judgment on that. And of course you're going to get influenced. Like if somebody sees my hair on TikTok, they're going to be like, oh my God, what product? And I try to educate people and be like, okay, well maybe it's like my type of hair, but I'll give you tips in terms of how I grew it. It's never always one product in my personal opinion. For most things, it's never really one product. Also, I have different hair porosity, so you want to be careful with getting recommendations from people with hair products because maybe those products don't work in your hair, this, that, and the third. The reason why I'm bringing this up is I feel like a lot of the times we do spend a lot of money on being influenced when we see other people, and you just want to use your critical thinking skills and ask yourself, is it really the product or is it just their genetics, or is it just, you know? And I think how you know is maybe do a little bit more research. Like, I don't know, like what was their journey? Have they always been like that? Have they always had that skin? Anyway, so just using that as well. Even when I think about fashion and stuff, like this is the first time I actually learned this lesson was when I was younger and I was exposed to online shopping. I think this is when Fashion Nova was really, really big. And I would spend so much money at Fashion Nova because like that was the biggest thing, was popping. It was like the first like Instagram store that like everyone was obsessed with. And I would look at these models and they looked amazing in these outfits. And then when I would get them, they didn't look so amazing because I didn't have the same body type as them, which is totally fine. Like you can rock whatever. But I specifically was hoping that when I was spending my money, I was going to look like these girls. And I realized, oh, well, it's not the shirt, it's their body. And so when I'm shopping and stuff, like, I mean, that was years and years and years ago. But now when I shop, I take that in consideration. It's like, okay, well, does this model have the body type that I have? Because if she doesn't, I don't know if I'm going to spend my money on that because it might not work, you know? Same thing with hair. It's like, I'm not going to buy products unless I know that curly hair girl has the same curl pattern as me, probably has gone through the same journey as me, maybe has the same porosity as me. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's get into the categories. And these are just things that I think we as women who will spend our money on in the summertime: beauty, wellness, and like fun lifestyle entertainment and stuff. And obviously this is not everything. This is kind of just what I usually will spend my money on or have, and I've kind of switched. So hopefully some of these can help. So let's start with beauty. First one is press on nails if you get your nails done. If you're a nail girly, I would honestly highly suggest you switch to press-on nails this summer to save money. Okay, this is nothing in this video is sponsored. I have worked with Impress Nails on Instagram. You guys have probably heard me say this probably a million times now, but I wish I switched sooner. I love getting my nails done, especially in summertime. In the wintertime, I kind of take a break, but I usually just take a break because one, it is expensive to be doing it all year round. Because nails are just so much money now, but obviously like it kind of messes up your nails. Please consider getting, like, I love the Impress nails, but I don't care if you get the Impress nails, you can get other ones, but I like Impress because it's not like the fake glue where you have to put it on. It's just like a little stick thing and you just stick it on your nails. And I think they have beautiful designs. I don't have them on, well, I do have them on right now, but the other ones, my French tip ones, look identical to what I was getting done at the salon. And what was I kind of calculated it here. I was probably spending on average maybe like $150 probably a month on my nails because I would get a set and then I would get a refill. But refills are so expensive now. And then the tip, and then if you pay with your card, then taxes, things like it like becomes too much. And so obviously I'm using these ones because I had worked with them, but I'm going to continue to do this. I think it's just like so much easier and better. And I think it saves you a lot of money. And I calculate it. Let's say I get my nails done all year. Okay. Which I mean, a lot of girls do. Let's say it was $150 times freaking 12. That's $1,800 for nails that get crusty and dusty, and then you have to get redone, and you have to put your hands under those UV lights, which it's coming out that's actually really bad for your hands, okay? Versus, let's say on average, maybe $30 a month for the impressed nails, which they don't cost $30. They're way cheaper than that. It depends on what you get. But I know in Canada, like when I went to the store the other day, I saw the French tip ones, not the ones that I have, but they were like thicker French tip. I think they were $19, so $20 for the whole set, but you get multiple in them. So I usually use them 2 times over. So that will last me basically a month, because they last on me about 2 weeks. And I like to take them off when I'm on my period as well. So let's just be generous and say $30, which they're not. And I'm in Canada, by the way, which means it's going to be a lot cheaper. $30 times 12, $360. Okay, that is, in like the grand scheme of things, it might not be a lot of money to you, but it actually is a lot of money. And the money that you're saving on those nails, you could put towards your savings, which I can guarantee you probably put your savings on the bottom list of all your other expenses. Okay, so just like a small thing like that. Next thing, please, we need to start re-wearing outfits. Like, this is getting ridiculous. And I don't even mean like your basics, right? Like, obviously we usually will wear those pair of jeans or the cargo pants. Like, I'm always wearing my cargo pants. I'm always wearing like that jacket, obviously. But I'm talking about like this shirt that you see right now. I'm going to be re-wearing this a million times this summer. This is not a one and done. We're not doing one and dones, not this summer, okay? Maybe when we are 30, flirty, thriving, and we got like multiple six figures in the freaking bank. I don't know. But like right now we are re-wearing outfits, okay? And when you are getting outfits, if you are shopping, try your best to do basics. Like, get your basics, because obviously those are going to be more like interchangeable. Like, I go to a lot of events. I obviously come on camera. I need outfits for a lot of things, and I have a lot of solid basic colors and outfits that I'm always intertwining and changing around. And I feel like I always have a new outfit, even though I basically just have like a set of basics. Sorry, I guess clothing will be underneath beauty as well. Another thing is, for me, what I just did is I guess invested, but I got a new pair of shoes, New Balance shoes, which I'm obsessed with, the 550s. Oh my gosh. Anything that I talk about will be linked on my Like to Know It if you are interested. But again, only if you're in your budget, right? Obviously. I honestly just want you guys to see them. They're so cute. But I got them because I wanted to, for many reasons, I wanted to be stylish and not always have to wear heels. But if I'm always wearing heels to events and stuff, I'm going to be more willing to want to get an Uber, which is going to down the line like cost me more money than walking, because I live in a city. So I wanted to invest in a cute pair of sneakers that I could use for most of my outfits. And most of your outfits you can wear sneakers with, honestly. And obviously it's just more comfy and you can walk. So I just think that thinking about those things and making everything very basic, convenient, you can interchange them, is gonna save you a lot of money this summer. You don't need those those statement pieces, especially if you're not gonna rewear them, not this summer. Also, use what you have. Like, we do not need to be going shopping every single weekend for a new outfit, or if you're going on a date, or if you're going to a concert. As much as your impulse is going to want to be like, oh my God, I need to get a new outfit. Yes, but please, you will actually just think about it. Like, think about the night. Yes, you have something cute that you can wear, and by the end of the night you're going to be so happy that you didn't go spend $50, $80 on a new outfit just for that night. Like, it's actually really not needed. And maybe like once or twice you want to get that staple piece for a certain maybe concert or something, that's fine. But again, I just feel like sometimes we be spending way too much money on these like niche things that are not really needed. And especially when it is like, oh, I'm going on a date and I need to get this, or I'm going on an event, like things just kind of come up. I feel like that's when you end up buying something that you genuinely are not really going to rewear because you didn't think about it that hard. So always think about it. And also, you can always ask your friend to borrow something. I don't ever really do this, but I do know some of my girlfriends will ask a friend like, hey, can I borrow this and wear this for this thing? Da. Obviously just be responsible and give it back and whatever. And also don't be the friend who's always like, we're not out here like being that like super broke friend who never wants to pay for anything. Honestly, just take that in consideration with anything that I'm going to talk about, because that's kind of annoying. But you could ask maybe sometimes. Another thing is when you are shopping, honestly, go to the sales section and see some cute things. You never know. The other day I was shopping and I went to H&M and I knew that I wanted a light colored zip up hoodie, and I don't have one. I only have like an actual hoodie with no zip, but I like the zips for the summertime because you can open it up and you don't have to be so hot, and you can wrap it around your waist if you need to. But I didn't have a light colored one, and I went to the sales section. I found this beautiful sweater, and it looked very expensive. It looks very expensive, and it was literally more than half off, and I was like, perfect. And sometimes you just find really good things. So if you are gonna shop, honestly, just go to freaking sale section. Half the time they have what you want, and realistically, a lot of the stores now just end up sourcing their clothes from places where people complain about it being not good moral ethically, which is like a whole nother thing. But like, I don't know, do your research. That's all I'm gonna say. Literally do your research. Another thing is learn how to do your hair, okay? Now, obviously, it depends on what you're trying to do, but I even think about some of my friends, like they'll learn to dye their own hair, they'll learn to cut their own hair. I get it. It takes a while to even learn that kind of stuff, but if you don't have the money, realistically, why are you going to the hair salon and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on these things? Like, you can't afford it, so we're not doing that. Learn how to do your own hair. Being a curly girl, learn how to do your own hair. This is a great time. This is a great summer. You keep putting it off. Don't put it off anymore. Also, another thing that I would do, I don't do this anymore, but I would spend so much money on fake hair pieces when I would want to like not dive deep into doing my natural hair. And listen, if you have black hair, like black curly hair, like black girl hair, you don't have to go natural. I'm not saying like just because I'm natural, it's like, oh, everyone needs to go natural. No, it's not that. It's just like, if you are spending your money, and you have to really calculate this, right? You have to think about how much money you're really spending. If you're spending a lot of money on fake hair and stuff, really consider investing in just a nice hairpiece then, if you're going to do that. I spent so much money on crappy hair pieces that just never would last, when I could have either learned how to do my own natural hair, which I was just me personally just being lazy. I'm not calling anyone who's lazy who's not doing it. Or I just wouldn't calculate seriously just how much money I was actually spending at the what's it called? The beauty supply store, getting all these like fake hair, like wigs and shit like that, when I could have just spent money on a real hairpiece. I have my hairpiece from Luxie Hair. It was, I think, around $300. I don't know how much it is now. I'm pretty sure they still sell them. And it was the best investment I ever spent. I couldn't even believe how much money I spent on crappy hair pieces. I have that hairpiece. I've had it forever. I take care of it and I use it for my slick back ponytails, and that is it. And also it looks really nice. Like, some of the hair pieces that I used to be wearing looked like absolute shit. So it's just not worth it. So you really want to think about that. Another thing, learn to do your eyebrows, learn to do your lashes, learn to do whatever you get outside of you maintenance done. Learn how to do it at home, at least for the summer, so you can save some money, okay? Like, and I'm saying this to the girls, like, most of us are not rich, okay? Most of us don't have the money to be going out and getting fake lashes done every month, or this, that, and the third, like, as an expense. And listen, you can, listen, I know, like, there's some people who have money who can put it in the budget, but like, just because you can put it in the budget and move around some numbers doesn't necessarily mean you can afford the $200 lashes just because you can kind of like maneuver your money. Again, like that $200 could go to savings or something like that. You know what I mean? Try your best to do your DIY lashes, do your toenails at home, do your eyebrows. I've saved so much money learning how to do my eyebrows. Like I used to do my eyebrows, or get my eyebrows done, I should say, when I was younger. Like I would get them waxed. Did I ever get them threaded? I don't know. But those expenses just add up for what when I can do it at home? You know what I mean? And I just think it's more empowering sometimes to be able to do those things at home. Another thing, maybe this is going to be your drugstore makeup summer, okay? So I think that drugstore makeup is honestly, it's elite in so many ways. There's so many drugstores or drugstore makeup products or brands, I should say, that send me products that I still use to this day versus very expensive ones. So like my NYX eyeliner, it doesn't cost a lot. I don't even remember how much it costs, but it does not cost a lot of money. And I used to spend probably triple the amount of money on a winged liner thing from Sephora, from like Kat Von D or Anastasia or whatever, one of those like a more expensive brands, when realistically there's so many cheap dupes. So maybe this is your dupe era. I understand that there are sometimes issues with dupe stuff. Like, you know, you don't want to do the overconsumption thing, but you are allowed to spend less money on a product if you need, is all I'm going to say. Just don't obviously be using a fuck ton of stuff that you don't need all the time. Like even me, I get products sent to me and I make sure to use those products, and I make sure to give them to my friends if I don't use them, and even a giveaway, which I still need to do, but I need to figure that out. I don't know what I'm going to do that. Another thing is, do not buy a new product until it is finished. Please. Skincare, hair care, makeup, highlighter. I have been using my Fenty Beauty highlighter since 2020, I believe. 2020, okay? There is not a damn reason for me to buy a new highlighter. The only reason why I have any other highlighters is because I have worked with other brands who have sent me it. I do not need to go buy another one. Even when it comes to like lip products and stuff, I have a lot of them. A lot of brands have sent me that. Although I did buy one new lip product recently. Well, not recently. It was for spring, and it was Rare Beauty, and that was because I finished my Anastasia's one, which lasted me forever, and I really wanted a different shade. And I bought a new blush because I wanted a different shade of blush, but I used the one that was like $20 for literally the entire year. So just really use up the things. Like, let's not waste so much, I guess is what I'm saying. And I wrote here, which I kind of already talked about, just thinking about like what you spend the most money on when it comes to your beauty. And I just want you to see, I really want you to see how much money you're actually spending on these things for an entire year, or obviously estimate just like how many months or how many weeks that you spend on these things, and just think, could this money go to maybe like my new house that I want to buy, or like a new car that I want to buy? Like how quicker could I get to that goal if I save on some of these things? We're not going rogue here, but it's just to think about those small things that do add up. Okay, next category is wellness. So just a few things that I feel I have learned how to do, especially around the times where money was really, really tight. And the last time I did this tip that I'm going to talk about is when it was COVID, really. Not just me going through it, everyone was going through it. I also had my nerve pain happen around that time. So even when things were opening up, I was not able to serve and bartend, which was an extra source of income for me. I only just had my 9 to 5. And at that point I wasn't making anything off of social media. So it was definitely rough. So I started shopping at the cheapest grocery store. Now, was some of the quality of food a little bit lower? Yeah, but I would just make sure to shop the things that were the freshest if I need like vegetables and fruits. And I kind of ate a little bit seasonally. I basically just did what I could. And this was hard for somebody who really, really prioritized eating not extremely healthy because at that point I still had healed my relationship with food, but I still wanted good quality food. But I just feel like, when you're struggling with money, like it's probably not the time to spend your last dime on like a grass-fed steak. I can do that now because I have the money, but I really had to it sounds kind of bad, but like put that dream to the side a little bit. It is not going to kill you to shop at a cheaper grocery store and do that budgeting, at least for the time being. And I was paying off credit card debt and things like that. And I was just really trying to be better with my money. And that really, really helped because here, even in Toronto, like there's sister companies when it comes to grocery stores. And I know not everyone has the same ones around them. So you have to kind of do that calculation. But there was actually a few that were near me, and a few of them is like there's one called Loblaws and No Frills, which is like the cheapest grocery store and mainly the cheapest, and also like Shoppers, which sometimes they sell food there, and they all sell the same exact product, but No Frills will have it for cheaper. So I became very aware of like the places that were the cheapest, and I would only shop there. And I would also just get like no name products because they were basically the same as freaking brand name. And I still sometimes do that to this day when I don't want to spend an insane amount of money on something. Also, when I would go, if I needed anything to do with like cleaning supplies or things like that, I would make sure to go to the dollar store. Like I would make sure to get things for cheaper as much as I could. I didn't skip out on every single thing. And some places, like some things you just can't, obviously. And some places it's not really worth it depending on where you live. But I would really suggest you think about like, is there ways that I can save a little bit more money by going to a different grocery store, or obviously doing that budgeting, which I guess I'll talk about at the end. But I mean, budgeting is budgeting. It's however much money you really have to sit down and spend. But for sure, did I start to see how much money I was saving, and it really helped me through the time that I was trying to lower the spending and obviously save money. And another thing is, at least here, and it's different for everywhere, but utilizing point systems when it comes to grocery stores is very huge. For me, I have 3 different credit cards for different reasons, but one of the credit cards that I have is a MasterCard, and it has PC Optimum points, and you get that when you go to certain gas stations, which I used to have a car, so I would always make sure to go to the gas station where I would collect the points for. I would not go to the other ones, obviously if I had to, but I would never really go to the other ones. I would collect points at Shoppers, which I never really shopped at Shoppers because if I needed any self-care products, I would go to Walmart, or I would just like maybe even get something on Amazon if it was cheaper. Like I just wouldn't go to the most expensive places to get things because you can literally just find them cheaper at different places. Also, though, the reason why I liked going to No Frills was I was able to collect points, which would allow me to then use the points to bring down my food. So I would utilize point systems if you can for your grocery stores. And I even still do this now when I go grocery shopping, but I also have an Amex points card. So even if I'm not using my PC Optimum points card, because I don't use it for everything, I actually use my Amex for most things now, because I get Amex points, which allow me to travel. So just thinking about ways that you can really obviously optimize points if you have them, but also going to cheaper stores. And that even kind of goes with shopping and stuff. And I know sometimes like it's not good to go to places that are like fast fashion and things like that. I understand. But if you're not spending a lot of money and you just need a few basic things, like you have to do what you have to do. Next thing is to cook at home. Oh my gosh, it seriously saves you so much money. And I have to reel it in. And I told you guys this on a few episodes prior about respecting our money and stuff, and like the Uber Eats and the eating out thing. Like if you just plan your meals, you don't have to do a huge big meal prep, but if you just plan a few ideas of meals and you go to your cheap grocery store, you will save so much money. Not only will you save money, but you'll just be a lot more healthier because you're not eating out all the time and you kind of can control what you're eating. But cooking from home saves you so much money. And I don't even want to hear people be like, it's so expensive to eat healthy. No, it's expensive to go out and eat like shit, and it's also expensive to go out and eat healthy. It's not that expensive to eat healthy at home. It is not. And I know that because when I would even go to the cheapest grocery stores, I had a small budget and I would be eating all the foods that I needed to eat. Was it grass-fed? No, but I was still eating vegetables. I was still getting my protein in. Like, there's totally ways. You just have to put a little bit more effort, but I promise you, it gets easier over time. Like, it doesn't take that much time to really do once you kind of have your routine down pat, and going into the grocery stores and having your list and not going off of that list. Like, really thinking about how you're spending money is going to be huge when it comes to food. Also, another thing that I do to save money on food, because I used to always do this when I first started living on my own, and I've been living on my own for so many years, but I guess maybe even having my own money, is to, when I'm cooking, try to buy the same like food things that you can kind of transfer. So instead of being like, oh, I want to make like this Mexican bowl dish and then I want to make something completely different, like that's going to require a lot of different ingredients that you're probably not going to be able to use for different meals. And so what I like to do is get some protein, let's say, because I'm like big on protein. I get protein that I can use on a side salad, but I could also use in a pasta, or I could also use in a quesadilla. And so like I'll have quesadillas and then I'll have like a main meal, and it's basically like the same. Like I do my best to kind of not waste. It's honestly just like not wasting. Like if I need a freaking tomatoes and limes for some sort of dish, but I'm not going to use it any other time throughout the week, I'm not making that meal, because it makes no sense. It's a waste of money, and it's also like, it's just a waste of food, you know? Another big expense, and I know it's so annoying to hear, but those coffees out, those iced matchas out, learn how to make them at home. The reason why I'm also saying this right now is I've been really, really into cold brew. And so when I started to get that craving, I was going to the grocery store and getting like those cold brew, like pre-made things. But I was sitting here being like, I could literally just make a batch of coffee and put it in my fridge and it's cold brew. Like, I don't know why I'm spending money on that. There's no reason. And every time I have the urge to go out and get a coffee, at this point, I'm always like, I'll just make it at home. Even when it comes to matcha, if you want your drinks, just make it at home. I think that will really save a lot of money if you find that you are spending a lot, which I do think that even if you don't think that you are, you probably are. Another thing is to walk as many places as you can. I have saved so much money when it comes to Ubering from doing this, and I know that it's difficult if you don't live in a city, but honestly, like I even remember when I had my car, and I've always had a car, I started to realize just how much I wasn't really utilizing my car and how much it was actually a waste of money, even living in the suburbs, honestly. And I realized like I was close enough to my grocery store, I was close enough to work that I could even walk. Like there was actually things where I was like, maybe a bigger thing that I should be thinking about is selling my car at this point. And I know you can't just do that. Like I definitely know that people need the cars and stuff. But as soon as I decided that I wanted to move downtown Toronto, tell me how I was considering keeping my car. And I was like, you are not doing that. Do not do that. That is the stupidest financial situation that you could put yourself in. Well, not put yourself in, I was already in it. But I was going to do that out of mere convenience because I was like, well, I have my car, I'm going to pay it off soon. No, I would not even drive the car. I already knew that anytime that I would want to go out, I wasn't even going to drive my car because I was going to want to Uber just in case I had a drink. But also, everything is around me walking distance. Get good at walking, please, if you can. I know it cannot be for everyone. So if it's not for you, then this tip is like very irrelevant. But even like I had mentioned, investing in shoes allows me to walk to most events versus even Ubering. And I just think there's way too many times past, honestly, I'm saying past to me because genuinely I'm so good at this. Like I'm very proud of myself, where I would spend way too much money on Ubers where I could literally just walk, and half the time there's traffic. It's like just walk. And I see a lot of my friends still. And again, maybe this is a little bit passing judgment and being like, oh my God, I'm so good now because I don't do this. But genuinely, I do see a lot of my friends where they literally cry about like a 20-minute walk. And I'm not talking about like when you go out and you have heels and it's cold out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like a 20-minute like to the event, like you really could walk. And they'd be spending so much money on that. I just don't think that it's necessary. And I think that it's an expense that we do not need. And also, it's just better for your wellness. Like, get a good playlist, get headphones, get a little tote bag if you need, and go on that walk and get some shoes, and you will be fine. I swear, over the time you will save a lot of money. And I even think about this when it comes to like living areas. If you are maybe in your 20s and you're considering like getting your own place or you're moving out, things like that, really, really consider moving in an area where things are pretty close enough to walk. Like, look at the distance and try and consider doing that, because when I moved down here, I was thinking about how much money it was going to cost to keep my car, and it was going to be around an $800 expense just to keep my car essentially parked down here the whole time. That's how much it was going to cost. Like, ridiculous for a parking spot, for my insurance, and for my car payment, for me to not even drive it and for me to Uber. Not worth it. Okay, another thing for wellness, if you are a wellness girly who likes to go out to the gym or you want to do classes or things like that, I think ClassPass is probably, from what I know, I don't know if there's any other platforms, but ClassPass is definitely such an affordable way to do classes if you are somebody who like has that and you just want to save a little bit money. And the reason why I'm saying that, it's not sponsored, obviously. I do have 20 free credits. So if you want to try it for free, link down below. And by the way, when you do the 20 free credits, they don't open all the studios around you. So just know, if you feel like you're a little bit limited, if you actually become a paying member, more studios will open. The reason why I'm saying this is because I would book when I wanted to do my Pilates classes and even my hot yoga before I did my ClassPass through the actual studio, and it was way more expensive. It was so expensive. And even Pilates, like, I loved the Pilates, but I think I was paying like, it was a boutique reformer Pilates, but even like Sweat and Tonic and stuff, like, it can be expensive. But I was paying like $160 after taxes for damn near like 4 classes a month for that, which is wild. And although technically, yes, I have the money to spend for that, it's just too much. It's too much. When now I go at least 3 times a week. I actually don't even do Pilates. My old Pilates studio is not there, but you can do Pilates on ClassPass. There's so many different studios. But I do hot yoga 3 times a week, and I pay the cheapest amount for the membership. So the membership here, Canadian, is, I think it's $80 and you get 34 credits. So you can use different credits to book classes, and some classes they will have like sales. So you can, you can get the class for like less credits and stuff. I think it's an absolute amazing way. And also, I can also go to different studios if I want. So I don't have to just be tied down to that one studio. So I would suggest ClassPass is a really good, way to save some money. The last thing when it comes to wellness is really just thinking about downsizing your extra wellness stuff. So, your vitamins and your supplements that you're always spending money on, really consider like, are these things working for me? Do I need them? And can I get these things from my basic food, like meal to meal plan? You know what I mean? Like, I spent so much money on supplements and vitamins and all of these things that I really like did not need when I was going through like the holistic health phase of my life. And it wasn't the time. It just wasn't the time. I did not have the money to be spending on that. And quite frankly, like, these are things that are not like life changing for the most part. So I would really just consider, like, for the summer, like, maybe if you get those, like, I don't know, I just feel like, we're just like so impulsive sometimes. So anyways, just downsizing, really considering if you need all of those supplements and vitamins. You probably don't need all of them. Like, and I even think it's kind of a seasonal thing too. Like, I don't need to be buying and supplementing with vitamin D3 really in the summertime, but maybe in the wintertime, that's when I'll spend a little bit more money on something like that. So just really considering your situation, of course. Okay, so let's talk about fun stuff, entertainment, lifestyle, things like that. I think this is definitely a big expense that I'm going to be focusing on this summer, because this one gets you, especially if you know that you do have money. Like, I do budget. Essentially, I do budget, but I also like don't really the way that I used to now. So this can really get ya. So let's talk about going out for dinners and stuff like that. Again, this is all relevant to your budget. So you're going to know like how much money you can spend in this, that, but maybe if you aren't like super tied down to a budget, then you really need to think about this. Try your best if you are going out to go around happy hour times, whether you're drinking alcohol or not, because most restaurants have happy hour specials. They have happy hour drinks. Like they have a happy hour menu essentially. And even the other day I went with my friend and we had gone to this one place and we ate something, whatever. And then we decided like last minute on a whim to go to this other place. And it was fine. I wasn't like stressing out about anything, but they were like, oh, like we have these happy hour drinks or whatever. But I was like kind of really wanting this specific wine. It wasn't really specific. It was just like a type of wine and they didn't have it on the happy hour thing. And I was going to consider spending $16 on, I think it was like a 6-ounce glass of wine versus what was it? It was $8. Well, actually, no, it wasn't $8. It wasn't $8. It was $1 per ounce. So essentially it would have been $6. But I was like, considering, and I'm sitting here and I told myself like internally that in the dialogue, I was like, is it really going to make that big of a difference, Alicia? Like, first of all, you're not this like wine connoisseur. Okay. So relax. And also it's just like poison anyways. And get the cheaper one. You know what I mean? So sometimes you just have to talk to yourself like that. But I really like when we left, I was looking at my bill and I was like, it was literally like 6 something. Well, obviously like with tip, but so the best thing you can do with like your friends and stuff is also like plan around those times. So if you want to go out for some sort of drink or an appetizer or whatever, really consider planning around those happy hour times if you can, because it will definitely save you money. And for sure, try your best to, if you are drinking, I know sometimes it's really nice to get a little fancy drink and stuff, but pretty much if you order a bar rail drink versus the cocktail, it will cost less money. And what I mean by that is just ordering like your vodka soda with like a little bit of cranberry versus like them giving you the cocktail menu and then you're getting this like passion dragon fruit vodka drink, which just has like passion fruit and it's in a cool glass, but it has the exact same ingredients as what you would get if you ordered your vodka soda. So thinking about that, like at the end of the day, especially when it comes to alcohol, in my personal opinion, I'm just like, a lot of the times it's just a placebo. Just get the cheaper option or ask them, like if you're going to the bar, like just get a bar rail shot or a bar rail drink. Don't be like, oh, I need like the most expensive tequila. I just don't think, unless someone's buying it for you. And quite honestly, if you're a girl, you should be getting someone to buy it for you. Just saying. You shouldn't, listen, people don't have to. Men are not obligated to buy us things. So I'm just saying, you know, sometimes. Anyways, okay, next thing is to look up free things to do around your city or even on Pinterest and plan out with your friends. But just in general, just be aware of the things that are going on. And I know everyone always says this, but genuinely, like there's so many cool things around the city or in your like community and stuff that might be going on that are free that you can be doing. And I think that that's just, there's no reason to be like, oh, I can't go out and live my life because I don't have money this summer. Like you don't need to have money to go do a lot of things. And even if you are going out, again, saving money that way or just not buying things if you're going shopping or if you're going to thrift stores and stuff, like you don't have to buy things just because you're going. You can kind of have that lens on of I'm just looking mentality. You don't have to buy things. Also, go to your local library and find a book and check it out. If you don't want to spend money on books, but you maybe want a new book. I used to do this a lot also during COVID. There was a library that was really close to me, and I didn't have the money. Like I really did not have the money to be spending a bunch of stuff. So what I would do is I would go there and I would find most of the books that I would have just bought on Amazon anyways, and I would go check them out. And I would do that like religiously. Also, I would look on YouTube to see if they have the free audio version before I paid for a book. Or I would just go find a lecture. Do you know how many lectures I watched during COVID from Harvard, from Ryerson, from all of these Ivy League schools? I'm not joking. If you go and you type in on YouTube, whatever topic you want to learn, economics, geography, math, psychology, anything, business, and you type in a university lecture, it will come up. I'm telling you, I used to watch those all the time, and that was for free. I learned a lot of stuff during COVID because I had a lot of time on my hands. So again, you have to just be resourceful if you want to save more money. Also, if you want to go out to cute coffee shops and stuff, just know you don't really need to buy something. And listen, I want to be careful with saying this because you don't want to be that person who's going to a coffee shop every single day and not buying anything, because like you can't really do that. But if you are a regular all the time, which I have been regulars for a long time for many places, sometimes like I'm not even trying to save money, but I kind of want to go to a coffee shop to work, but I didn't really want anything. And so I didn't get anything. And I would just sit there and I'll go do my work. And I know like I'm here all the time. I'm always buying things. So obviously you don't want to do that all the time, but you don't always have to be obligated to go buy something just because you walk into a store. Tell me why I wrote here, just be nice to people because they will pay for your shit. Okay, like let me like elaborate a little bit. And again, we have to be very careful. Do not take this out of context. I am not trying to promote being the friend who will not and does not want to pay for anything, and also who's just like slimy and is using people for money. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. You're not doing that. Please don't be that person. Like if let's say as an example, because it's a pretty easy example, going to a bar, if no one wants to, for some reason, buy me a drink. Not like I'm honestly looking for someone to buy me a drink, because at that point, I don't even want your drink. But let's say for some reason, you're like at a booth or something and there's like not the alcohol you want, or somebody didn't buy you a drink or me a drink. I'm going to buy my own drink at the bar. Like I am not like waiting around for somebody to go like get me a drink or something, or I'm like drinking something I don't want. I'm not doing it. Like we're not doing that. Go buy your own thing. And also don't be that girl or of that friend group or whatever that will be lowering your standards just to get a free drink. You know, like we don't really need to be talking to the men who are really not our type or like really not our vibe just to get a free drink. I don't know. Like, I mean, again, obviously it's situational. It's definitely situational, but maybe it just comes with age for me. It's like, dude, I will literally go buy my own drink. I do not need to be talking to no man's son for a damn alcoholic drink. But that's not really why I was brought that up on that list. It's really just staying connected with people. Like, and honestly, I give my friend Kendra like real good props with this, but like she is so connected that she's always inviting me out to things, and whether things are paid for or not, but in general, like I just get great experiences just being connected with a lot of people. And I think that like if you are not connected and you don't have a lot of friends, or you don't go out a lot, or you don't like talk to people, yeah, like you're gonna be paying for everything all the time, which is also not a bad thing. Like you have to pay for things for yourself, but you know, it does pay off sometimes to have those friends or have those connections, or, you know, like have this person who for some reason works at this concert venue and they have an extra ticket and you know them, so like here you know, things like that. So just always thinking that in your head. Just always be open to talking to people and don't be closed off to people. Again, it's not about being open to people just so they can give you something that you want, but you just never know. This is only really for content creators, and I'm just gonna throw this in because I just want to make it clear that this is what I am doing. If you're a content creator, please use your PR. Like I do see a lot of people who get so much PR and they still go out and spend so much money on things. And this is not me to like even judge how people spend their money, like honestly, but I'm just saying, like if you are a content creator and you get free stuff, like use it. Like for me, I really don't go and buy. I mean, there's obviously certain maybe like small things that I have to go buy if I need to, but for the most part, like, yes, I'm using these products. I'm trying them out. I'm using them. I'm not wasting them. Like, it makes no sense. Like, anyways, so the things that you have, use. Okay, some of these are kind of not for entertainment and like lifestyle stuff, but I'm just gonna like put them, or I'm just gonna say them if you're looking to move or decorate your place, I would highly suggest you get on the side of YouTube where it's very like affordable, budget friendly stuff. I have moved many times in my life and had to obviously furnish my place. And I would always go on YouTube and I would just type in like how to furnish an affordable, like obviously apartments or whatever, and you just get really good ideas. Even when it comes to, I've kind of already said this, when it comes to like buying stuff for your home or your place, kind of going either to a thrift store or a cheaper sale section. The other day, actually, I went with my mom back in my hometown. We went to a thrift store because she wanted to go, and I was looking through the mugs, and they had really pretty mugs there, and it was a set of 2 mugs, and they were yellow, and I really wanted them because I honestly needed a new mug. This one mug that I always used during the winter, and I've had this actually for many years. I literally had this since 2020. It was really old and like looking kind of gross, and so I wanted them and they looked really cute. Tell me how each one of them cost $1.50, and this is Canadian. And the gag of it all is, if I went to HomeSense or Winners and I saw those same mugs and I would have thought that they were cute and I probably would have wanted to buy them, they would probably be at least $15 for that set of mugs, and they were perfect condition. So if you are looking for some things for your home or anything like that, please consider the cheaper alternative. And I don't even mean like cheaply made, but I just mean like maybe consider going to a thrift store, maybe look in the sale section before you buy something that's super expensive. Again, we're thinking long term. If you want your West Elm couch, maybe that will just be for your 30s. Okay, another one is delete all instant shopping apps if you are impulsive. The only instant shopping app that I have is Amazon, and what I actually do if I go on Amazon, which I don't really buy much off of Amazon. You know why I think it is because I'm Canadian, and when Amazon was first a big thing, we had not as many products as the United States. So it kind of was irrelevant to buy things off of Amazon. Like, we were not buying things off of Amazon the way people in the States were. Like, we would have to just like go to Walmart or something and get something because it would just be so expensive, or it just wouldn't be available. And even now, I mean, Amazon is way bigger now here, but there's still products that I cannot get because I live in Canada and it's just like more expensive, or there's shipping and stuff like that. So I feel like I don't have the relationship towards Amazon like some people, but I'm sure some Canadians who are listening to this, you might be still obsessed. So I would suggest deleting those instant apps, or if you are impulsive, add it to your cart, but don't buy it. Give yourself at least a week, okay, before you buy that. Which leads me in the next thing is, if you are easily influenced when it comes to Instagram, TikTok shop, things like that, whatever, create a folder of when you see something, a product that you like, and add it in there. And then at the end of the week or month, go back and tell me if you really want that thing. I can guarantee you either forgot about it or you would not need it. Do you know how many times I've spent so much money on things that I did not need because it was just impulsive? Way too much. Even the other day, I caught myself I wasn't really going to do this, but I caught myself. This girl on TikTok, she was showing this. This is the thing. I don't even remember the damn brand, but I'm telling you, when I saw this girl's TikTok, in my bones, I was like, I need this. I need it now. This is going to change my entire life. It was this mineral sunscreen that was like tinted. And then they had a blush that was like a sunscreen like based blush, and also a highlighter. So it was like a sunscreen brand, but it was like skincare and sunscreen, but it was makeup. And that really, like, I was clearly the target audience. Like, clearly they got me because I was like, oh my God, I want that, because I am very much so like light makeup. I want more skincare based stuff versus like heavy makeup, things like that. And so when I saw this video, I was like, oh my God, I need this right now. I was literally going to go on the website and like look this up and have that impulse to buy it. And I was like, no, save it. Keep scrolling, because you're going to forget this in 3 seconds, but just keep scrolling. And you think that I can even remember the brand name? No. And honestly, in that moment when I was being impulsive, I didn't even think about the fact that I have this whole right here. Okay. If you're watching on YouTube, this entire thing is filled with PR products. I have everything I need forever in this thing. Okay. So there would be no reason for me even to buy that, even if I had the money. Like, and I do have the money realistically, but like there is no reason. So just make folders and come back to it later. Please do not buy anything on a whim. You have to give yourself a second to think. Give yourself, I don't care, make it a rule for yourself. Give yourself time to think, unless it's something that you know that you're like going out and specifically buying. Like, I knew I really needed these shoes. And you know what? Even the things that I know that I need to buy, that it's getting raggedy and it's getting old. Like my bag, it's getting raggedy and it's getting old. And you know what I'm doing? I'm pushing it and I'm pushing it and I'm pushing it and I'm pushing it and I'm pushing it. I am wearing that shit out until I really need it. I waited to get those New Balance shoes. Like, I have been wanting like new pairs of shoes to go out into the events and stuff, but I just kept pushing it off until I knew. Even when it came to that coffee mug, I kept using that damn mug until I felt like it was right. And of course, I found really cheap mugs. Okay, another thing when it comes to summer is bringing it kind of back to what I was saying about finding places that are free. When you are planning things with your friends, I want you to get in this identity of just romanticizing summer, okay? This is not even about saving money at this point. It's about really slowing down and enjoying summer and enjoying the fact that you have the time, you have longer days, you have beautiful days to be able to go outside and plan a picnic or go watch the sunset or go for a hot girl walk or make food at home while Tate McRae is playing and the sun is setting and you're making a wholesome meal. All of those things are going to save you money, but it's also just going to create such beautiful memories, and you have the time to do it this summer. And I just think you need to do more of that. And that's what I'm going to be doing, is more of that this summer for sure with my friends. Like, there's actually just not really a need to always go to the patio, always go to the restaurants. Yes, is it fun? And yes, is there ways to save money doing that? But also, like, doing that picnic vibe is so cute. Like, I think that's so cute. And you obviously save a lot more money. Even if you're getting a group of, like, let's say 4 girls, one girl is buying the charcuterie board, one girl is bringing a glass of, or not a glass, but one girl is bringing a bottle of wine that's not super expensive. Another person is, you know what I mean? It is so much cheaper if you think about it. If you are only in charge of like $20 worth of something versus you going to a dinner that can run you up to like $60, $80, $100, depending on where you live in the city. When I go out, if we are paying for a dinner, I'm assuming it's going to be over $100. So yeah, that really will save you some money. Another thing is, when I'm out and about in the city, I always make sure to have a tote bag with water and sometimes snacks if I need it. I just think this is helpful if you are somebody who buys out of convenience, or like even just having what you need on you. Because if not, if you're out and about, sometimes maybe you'll go buy that $4 water bottle, or you'll go and grab something from the coffee shop, like a croissant or something that's actually just not needed. But obviously you need it to tie you over, but like you could have really kind of avoided that whole thing by just bringing something in your bag. So I'm always making sure that I have something that's small, like a water bottle or something, so that I'm not buying things off of a whim. And bringing it back to kind of what I already said, if you need to buy something, obviously, because everyone needs to buy things, I would really consider doing your research and probably potentially finding a dupe for something. And I know dupe culture is ridiculous, but I'll give you an example. This is not even really a dupe. This is not a dupe. It's literally just a cheaper option. So maybe I should use a different word, but headphones. So I really wanted the Air Maxes when I wanted big headphones, and I just could not justify the price of $1,000. And it's so funny because this went viral, this video, not mine, but there's this video literally yesterday that I saw of this girl being like, it's not worth it to get these Air Maxes, it's not worth it, da, da, da. And by the way, if I have the money and when I want to buy them, I will buy them. So if you see me with AirPod Maxes, mind your business. I'm joking. I'm just kidding. But like, just right now in my life, I don't want to spend $1,000 on the headphones. And anyways, she was saying that they weren't really worth it because they fall off and stuff like that. But in the comments, people were being like, what do you mean it's $1,000? Like, that's crazy. Canadian, $1,000. It basically runs you up to $1,000 with taxes and it being Canadian dollars. Everything is really expensive in Canada, if you don't know. So I was like, all right, you know what I used to use when I was younger? Skull Candy headphones. So let me go and check those out. Let me go do my research. I ended up getting Skull Candy headphones. They were like 100 and something, 120 bucks. I'll have them linked if you're interested. And they're great. They work great. Like they last me all winter. I still have them now. But now that it's nicer out, I don't really want to wear big headphones unless I really want that vibe. Usually it's for the workout. I want like small little ones because I want to wear sunglasses. So I think two things are a little bit much. So I, for some reason, threw out my AirPod, like the small ones, like the small AirPods. I don't know what happened. I got those when I originally got one of my iPhones when they would give them out with a new iPhone. And I lost them, but I never really needed them throughout the winter. But now that it's nicer out, I was like, damn, I really want to get, like, I need those again. So I was considering, I was like, okay, I'll just go buy the AirPods again. And I was like, wait a second, let me go see if Skull Candy or an equivalent has cheaper ones, because do I really need to spend $150 on AirPods now when I probably know I could get them for cheaper? Anyways, I go in, I find Skull Candy headphones. They were on sale for $30 and they work great. Again, they do exactly what I need, and I didn't spend $150 on them. Those are all the things that I'm going to be kind of focusing on. And if I don't need to focus on them, it's because I've already implemented them in my life when it comes to saving money this summer. Now I'm going to quickly just talk about a few more things. I'm not going to get into detail though, because I do have like episodes and stuff about it. When it comes to like saving and investing, I think no matter where you are in your spending habits, your financial situation, there just should be no excuse for you not to have a small savings of something. If you are spending money on anything essentially that is outside of your genuine necessities, which is up for debate at this point with this society, when we are always complaining about, I do not have enough money for therapy, I do not have enough money for this, that, and the third, but it's like you go to Zara every month and you buy like enough, like whatever. That's up for debate, and I'm not even here to tell people how to spend their money. But genuinely, I'm saying this because I used to be somebody who's like, oh, I don't have money for therapy, I don't have money for this or that. But it's like, you actually do if you just looked and you were better with your money. It's wild. I know people, okay, who still to this day cry about the fact that therapy is too expensive, but are out here buying designer this and designer that. Like, please, okay? Priorities. So anyways, I'm saying at this point, we should all have savings. I don't care if you're saving $10 a month, okay? If you do not have savings, this is going to be your summer where you're getting that together. So what I do, I'll just kind of like tell you what I do. I do a few things. And again, I'll have all my finance episodes down below. And I'll also have my best friend, Joyee. You know that trend that's like looking for a man in finance? We don't need to look for men in finances, okay? We need to look for women in finances, which is my best friend, Joyee. She changed my life when it comes to finances, okay? If you need to really understand saving and investing and things, actually, it's more about investing, please go to her, because she talks a lot about like high interest savings accounts and TFSAs and stocks and stuff like that. But this is basically what I do. I have a high interest savings account. This account is not your traditional savings account that you have with your bank. For me, I'm with TD. So you know how TD has savings and checkings? I have money in my checkings account, obviously, like when I'm paying myself or when like money is coming in, but I have no money essentially in the savings account because I have another account, which for me is with Wealthsimple. I use Wealthsimple. And I can link all this stuff down below. I have a savings account, which is a high interest savings account. So when I put my money in that savings account, it is making me some interest on that money for being sitting in there, essentially, because the bank is making money off of you having your money sitting in your savings account, like I just said with the TD. But a high interest savings account is what it means. They're just basically giving you more interest, which means more money for you. So it's like a no-brainer to set up a high interest savings account. Like it's not a hard thing to do. Obviously, it depends on where you live. So obviously you need to go to a financial advisor. You actually don't need to go to a financial advisor. You can literally just Google it and figure out where you can open one. Be careful actually with financial advisors sometimes, because you don't always really need that. Anyways, high interest savings account, that's a good start because that's where you can put your $10 a month, your $20 a month, your $50 a month, okay? At least you're making some money on that money. And I'm treating this savings account for many different things. So it's up to you, of course. So I'll just let you kind of know what I use this account for. This account is for emergency funds. So if I need to pull out money quickly and I don't already have it in my account from like my checkings account. Also, I put any of my money that I'm going to need to pay back to the government for my taxes, I will put in there as well. And I'll just put any like long-term investments. If I was thinking of buying a house and I wanted to put some money, I would put it in there. Although in Canada, we have first home savings accounts. So my money from my house is in that account. But if I didn't have that, I would like before I didn't have that literally opened, I would just put it in that account. So that account is essentially, I'm not using it as if it's like, I'm going to pull it out every month and like spend on maintenance and stuff. I'm not doing that. But that account is basically very much so open for you to pull out and like put back in if you want. Like I'm not really getting any penalties for doing that. Second, this is now investments essentially, is a tax-free savings account. So this is what you hear when you hear people say, I have stocks or I'm buying stocks. So your TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account, you put money in every single month, depending on how much money you have. And within that account, you are going to be buying stocks with that money. So you can buy stocks that are very individual. People will literally like day trade. I mean, I do not do that. Really, a lot of the times I'm just investing in Fortune 500 companies, essentially, where within that stock, those are getting distributed to all a bunch of different companies. So you basically have like a part, not ownership. Well, it is essentially. You're buying a little piece of a lot of companies. I'm not going to get into details because at this point I'm getting too confusing. Bringing it back to the fact that I put a certain amount of money in every single month into my TFSA. And then every single month I basically buy the same stocks. So like $200 here, $200 in TD. That's a stock that I buy, TD stock. There's VFV and there's something else and something else. I buy usually like 4 of them. I just distribute my money equally. So I buy those and that's that. That money is a long-term savings, okay? And investment, obviously. So I'm not pulling out that money until I absolutely need to. And this is for something like, let's say if I needed for a house, but also really just to live off of. And some of these stocks also have dividends and dividends are going to pay you back. Again, I'm not going to get too much into it. You can just go to my best friend, Joyee. I'm really talking like I know what I'm talking about because of her, okay? And I'm not really talking. I do know what I'm talking about. So that account is not something you want to continuously pull money out of, because I'm pretty sure that you get penalties if you pull money out of it in a way. Regardless, when you put, this is why it's important that you do investing, okay? Because people are like, oh, well, what's the point? What's the point? When you buy stocks and you have your money in your TFSA, every single year, your money is compounding. If you don't understand what compounding interest is, please go Google it. Every single person in the world should understand what compound interest is. I didn't know what that is. And it's so important that you understand what that is when it comes to money, because it's different than you just putting money in your high interest savings account, right? Your high interest savings account is going to give you a little bit of money for you having your money there, but it's not really growing. A TFSA, on average, you're making probably about like 7 to 8%, depends on how you're investing your money, on the money that you have in there every single year. And that compounds over time. So whatever you put in your money now, like all the money you put in now, it's going to double, triple. It's going to keep going up, even as you put more money in. And it's going to keep growing and growing and growing and growing until you need to retire or until you need to make money. And that's how, I mean, that's not the only way you make a lot of money, but that's how people can be wealthy. Okay. There's many other things, of course, like investing in certain assets, but sometimes a lot of assets can also be a liability. But doing that, and also the more money you have in your stocks, in your TFSA, same thing that I'm talking about right now, and you're investing in dividends, the more money you have, the more dividends you're making back. And so if you think about millionaires and billionaires, that is what they're doing. They're moving their money that way. And of course, they're doing it in different other investments and moving their money a different way. But to bring it back, for the girlies who just want to be like good with their money, like hot girl money tips, your high interest savings account and you're going to budget however much money you're going to put. Again, this is like emergency fund. This is what I actually call it, short-term investment, essentially, short-term savings account. Okay. And that's like money that you can kind of like, it's not playing money, but it is if you need to take it out. And your TFSA is long-term. You're not pulling that shit out. Okay. You're allowed to, but again, you don't want to be pulling out your money. So that is what I do when it comes to my money. Really, right now, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I have my first home savings account. I obviously pay CPP, which is like retirement savings in Canada, which is like a government thing, but I definitely focus heavily more on my stocks and things like that. And listen, you can really up how much money you're making putting into your account. But I think that you just have to start. And there's just no reason why, if you're getting your fake lashes done, if you're getting your nails done, if you're going to Zara, if you're going to Aritzia and you're spending your money and you don't have a high interest savings account or you don't have a TFSA, we got to talk. We have to talk. And so does my best friend. She needs to talk to you. Okay. And another thing that I do, which I basically already said, is every single month I do my bookkeeping. So for me personally, I have my own business. So I have to pay myself and I have to do my own taxes and things like that. I mean, I get an accountant and a tax person to do them, but I make sure every single month I have an Excel sheet of how much money I'm making and I write it out, and how much money I spend and what I can expense for my business. And I know exactly where everything is going. Okay. So even if you don't have that, you should have some sort of monthly thing where you're seeing how much money you're spending and how much money you're making, because obviously, like, you just need to know this. I did this even before I had my own business, because that just really helped me see, okay, when I'm going to the grocery store, how much money can I really spend on this? And I think that it really does give you a peace of mind. And then that's when you can really see how much money can I put into my TFSA? How much money can I put into my high interest savings? It's very, very important. And if you even think about this when it comes to your credit, when it comes to buying a home, again, coming to long-term things, thinking about the long term here, you're going to need good credit. Okay. You're going to need to have some savings. You're going to need to show on paper that you have something going for you when it comes to getting these investments or getting a car or getting all of these things in your life. Even if you don't plan to use them, even if you, in my head, I'm just thinking of some of my friends who are like, I just want to be a stay-at-home wife. Like, that is what I want. And I do not want to pay for anything. Listen, if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but I don't care. If you're going to be spending your money on things or not, you should always have your own thing going for you. So make sure that that is situated. And I would say the last thing that I do, which I already said, is utilizing point systems. So I have an Amex that I basically am always like accumulating points with. And I just think that's a great way to make sure that you're getting the most out of your money. Also making sure that if you are getting credit cards, of course, you're paying down your credit cards. You're making sure that your minimum balances are paid. Make sure everything is automatic. Go on all of your, if whatever cards you have, make sure that everything has like the automatic minimum balance paid to make sure that you don't fuck up your credit. Make sure that you are paying everything monthly. If you have things on collections, call up the place and make a freaking payment plan. Do not keep leaving it. Making sure that your credit cards, if you can, going into your banks and making sure that you're getting the lowest interest, because credit cards are really high interest, and especially if you're racking up a lot of stuff, like, it becomes a lot of it's too much money. It's a waste of money. Obviously not every single credit card you can get really, really low, but I remember during the pandemic as well, I moved one of my credit cards down to like I think I got my credit card at like 7, 8, or 9% interest, I think, which is really low for a credit card. So that's what I did. So yeah, I think that's basically it. Really just getting on your shit this summer, okay? There's just no, like, I don't even care if you're really, really young. I mean, I'm 28 now, and we're getting up there. So, I mean, if you're 28, you should definitely be on your shit. But if you're younger, you should be on it too, as much as you can. And everyone is different. Do not compare yourself and do what you can, okay? Me being able to buy stocks has only really just been something that I really have been throwing myself into the past year and a half. Before that, I was just really focusing on paying down debt and also putting some money like aside in general. There are some months where things are a little bit more tighter, that I'm not like putting all of my money into stocks and this, that, and the third. So just do what you can, but you can do it. and we're going to have a fun summer, and we're going to hit all of our goals, and we're going to get everything we want. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you enjoyed, please let me know in the comment section down below. And if you're listening to on Spotify, I would love if you can leave a review, preferably 5 stars, if you enjoyed it and you think I deserve 5 stars. That really just helps everyone else be able to see the podcast and it get pushed to more people. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.